Hello everyone, and you're going to be watching a video tutorial here that's going to allow you to understand how to use Microsoft Visio 2013 to build a data model, or what some refer to as an ERD or entity relationship diagram. So once you open up Visio, you're going to come in here to the panel and you're going to see that you can open up a number of templates, and we're going to go right into the crow's foot database notation. The crow's foot notation is a common notation used in a lot of data modeling, but there are other ones. However, for this example, we're going to go ahead and use that. Once your document opens up, you can begin to work on your particular model. So what I'm going to model here now will be a simple two-table model where we're going to show the relationship between a department and its employees. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to drag out an entity. We'll zoom in a little bit, and you can see that it defaults to these values. If you double click the entity name, you can put in whatever you like. It also defaults with a field representing, or an attribute representing, the primary key. So in this particular model here, I'm going to create a primary key called department ID. And we'll also have another attribute called department I could type name. A couple typos. Now at this particular stage, we're not going to see an actual need for another attribute. So what you could do is you could select the attribute and then hit the delete key, and that will adjust the entity. In the other entity now, we'll drag it out, double click. This will be the employee entity. It'll have a primary key of employee ID, and then we'll go employee L name for last name and employee F name for first name. When you look at this particular set of entities, you start to understand that there's a relationship that exists between the two. Now, the relationship often represents what are the business rules for a particular organization. In our particular model here, we're going to go ahead and say that a department can have many employees, but an employee can only belong to one department. To express that relationship, Visio comes with a set of drawing tools and symbols, one of them being the relationship. You can see that it's a simple connector. And what we're going to do is, taking a look at this particular connector, you can see that the crow's foot exists on one end, and then there's a singular connector on the other end. So if the relationship is a department can have many employees, we will put the crow's foot on the many side. Now when you hover the connector over the object, you can see that it starts to light up. What you want to do is look for the entire box or of the object to light up green and then release. So now it's snapped to the object. Take the other end and do the same to the other entity. The reason for the snapping to the objects is for drawing purposes, so you could actually drag your objects around your workspace as you start to add more entities. So now we see that we have the department entity, the employee entity, and now the relationship. One of the things that becomes evident that's missing, and also quite different in the later versions of Visio, starting with 2010 and now 2013, is the automatic adding feature of the foreign key. In prior tools, Visio would automatically add the foreign key from the related table. So in this case here, it's not doing that, so you have to actually add it in. To do that, you'll add in another attribute by simply dragging it from your shapes, dragging it onto the entity, and you'll notice that it'll want to add it in by highlighting it. Simply now give it the proper name. Good naming conventions typically follow the rule of making sure that the foreign key attribute name is the same as its related field from the other table. However, there are database models and examples that do otherwise. It often causes a little confusion for the developer or somebody who's new to that particular data model. So I'm going to go in here now, and I'm going to go put in department ID. As you can see, in both tables, we represent the fields with a PK. The foreign key in this example here can also be represented by a similar object. By selecting the item and then right-clicking, you can see that you get a subset of menu items, and you can now set the foreign key. The tool is a lot more flexible than earlier versions. However, you really want to make sure that you're paying attention to your design. That now takes you to the next level of building out these relationships. As you can see, the connector here can also be edited. Once you select it, you can see that your menu bar also provides a series of options. But if you right-click on it, you could also start to change the cardinality for this particular relationship. You have your beginning symbol as 0 or more, and your end symbol 1 and only 1. If you need to change any of those values, you can do that right through here. When you also look at this particular model, the connector is quite small. Once again, there's several ways you can go about doing this. You want to select the relationship. You could right-click on it, and then you can go into Format Shape. Once you do that, Visio will present you with a set of options where if you click on the line, you could start to adjust the sizes and the weights of that particular relationship. When I come in here, I have different ways to set the arrow size. If I want to make it jumbo, or if I want to make it colossal, or extra large. So that's the begin and then the end. You can close out that panel, and now what you see here is how you build a Microsoft Visio ERD or data model. I hope this is helpful.